Welcome y'all to Robyn on the Farm. Today we're going to be making some scrumptious cinnamon rolls. Now the quicker I can make these, the quicker I can eat these. So let's just go ahead and get started on this recipe. You are going to love this recipe. It is so good. We're going to start with 1 cup of warm milk. I put this in the microwave for about a minute. You want your milk to be about 100 to 110 degrees. So 1 cup of warm milk, just throw it into your mixing bowl. Now you can make this recipe using your bread machine dough cycle or a stand mixer, or you can even make it by hand. So there's lots of different ways you can make this, but I'm going to use my stand mixer today. So 1 cup of warm milk in your bowl. Now you want 1/2 cup of sugar, just plain old white sugar. 1/2 cup, just throw it on in there over your milk. Now I'm gonna add 2 teaspoons of yeast. This is my active dry yeast. You can also use instant yeast, but 2 teaspoons active dry yeast right into the bowl. Now we're gonna add 2 large eggs. I cracked these eggs. I actually have a double yolk in one of them, so that's kind of fun today, but 2 eggs right into your bowl. You want 1/3 cup of melted butter. Melted, softened, usually I do it softened, but mine got pretty melted today. So 1/3 cup of melted butter. This recipe is so easy because you just add everything together and then you knead it. So it's super simple to make these cinnamon rolls. Now on top of all that, I'm gonna add 4 cups of flour. This is my bread flour. You can use all-purpose. I just prefer bread flour, but you can use all-purpose just fine. So 4 cups of flour. Now I'm gonna add a tablespoon of cinnamon, just because I like my cinnamon rolls to have some cinnamon flavor in the actual bread part. I just think that really adds a lot. I like that a lot. So a tablespoon of cinnamon. Now that all of our ingredients are in the bowl, I'm gonna let this knead for about 5 minutes. I'm gonna put it on speed 2 and let it go for 5 minutes, and I'll show it to you at that point. This is what you want your dough to look like as it's kneading. You can see it's not sticking to the sides or the bottom, and it's looking good. It's not looking too wet or too dry, so it looks perfect. This is what you want it to look like. All right, our dough has been kneading for about 5 minutes, and it's looking really good. You can see our dough in there. It looks exactly how it should. It wasn't sticking to the sides when it was kneading. If it was, I would have added probably about 1/8 cup more of flour to start with. But look at that. You can see the gluten development in that. Isn't that amazing? How you can stretch your dough like that after it's been kneaded enough. But the dough feels great. It's tacky, not too sticky. I'll be able to work with it. It's really nice. It smells really good, like cinnamon. And this is a really good and rich dough because we used milk and butter and eggs, and so this is gonna make amazing cinnamon rolls. So at this point, I'm gonna stick it back in my bowl, and I have put some warm water on this tea towel. I'm just gonna cover my bowl with this tea towel and let this rise for about 30 to 45 minutes. While our dough is resting, we are gonna go ahead and make our filling. You're gonna want 1 stick or 1/2 cup of melted, softened butter. So I went ahead and melted this a little bit in the microwave. And to this 1 stick of butter, we're gonna add 1 cup of packed brown sugar and 2 tablespoons of cinnamon. And if you like cinnamon, add more. If you don't want them to be quite so cinnamony, add a little less. So you get to customize this to your taste, but I make it with 2 tablespoons of cinnamon. Those are our 3 ingredients for the filling. So I'm just gonna mix this up with a spoon, and oh, smells amazing. All right, our dough has been rising for about 45 minutes, so it's time to check it out. Yep, it has doubled in size. Let's just turn it out onto our counter now. Here we go. Oh, it's gonna be so nice. Okay, at this point, it's time to shape them into cinnamon rolls. We're gonna first press out our dough. You're gonna want a rolling pin, and you're just gonna make it kind of into a rectangle, kind of a long rectangle shape. Oh, this dough smells so good with that addition of the cinnamon. Wow. Now we're gonna take our filling that we made, and I'm just, oh, this is gonna make it so good. This is so much better than cinnamon rolls that you just kind of put some melted butter on and you sprinkle some sugar on it and some cinnamon and some powdered sugar. This is what makes these so good. So we're gonna take this and we're just gonna kind of place it all over. We're just gonna spread it out. I'm gonna use all of this. All right, I feel like I have that spread out pretty well. Now, I'm just gonna kind of pull my sides in a little bit to keep that filling in there. There we go. And then I'm just gonna roll it up. Just really simply roll it up. Start at one end, you can start at the top or the bottom, and just start rolling. You do wanna kind of roll it a little bit tight, just to keep that filling in there nicely. There we go. But super simple. It probably looks harder than it is. Just roll it on up. Okay. And then I'm gonna press the ends together. I'm gonna get that seam that's on the bottom. I'm gonna press that together into my dough so it stays together really nicely. Okay. I'm gonna do the same thing with the edges. Just kind of press all those seams together so that all your filling stays in there as well as it can. Now that we have our dough and our filling all rolled up into this nice log, it's time to cut our cinnamon rolls. So I have this 9x13 glass pan. I greased it up really good, and it's ready for our cinnamon rolls. We are gonna go ahead and cut this. So this recipe makes 12 cinnamon rolls. So I want to get about 12 equal portions for each cinnamon roll so that we don't have really big ones and really small ones. Sometimes that can be tricky. So I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of make a little guide on the top just to kind of make sure I know about how big. There are lots of different ways that you can cut your cinnamon rolls. Some people like to use dental floss. Some people like to just use a knife. I like to use my dough scraper cutter tool. This is the best way I have found to do it. And I like to do it because you don't lose your filling. It's kind of like a nice little scraper, and then you stick it on into your pan. That's why I like using this. So that's what I'm gonna do today. So I'm just gonna cut it right here on the guide, and then there we go. Okay, so this is looking good so far. You see how good that cuts? I love that. So just keep cutting until you have all 12 of yours in the pan. And as they rise, they're gonna fill out all the space, and they're gonna be good. So I'm gonna just leave these on the counter just like this, and I will put them in the oven in about 30 minutes. Look at those. They've been rising for about 30 minutes. They're looking great. I'm gonna go ahead and put these in the oven at 375 degrees for about 20 to 25 minutes. While our cinnamon rolls are baking in the oven, I'm gonna go ahead and make our frosting. This is a super simple frosting recipe that is perfect on these cinnamon rolls. So, you're gonna need 2 tablespoons of softened butter. I already have it here in my bowl. And we're gonna need 1.5 cups of powdered sugar. So 1.5 cups of powdered sugar. Just go ahead and put that in there with your softened butter. Now, we need 2 tablespoons of milk. This is whole milk. Just use about 2 tablespoons. And we need 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And that's it. So now I'm just gonna beat these up with my handheld mixer. Okay, so now our frosting's ready. That's all it took. This is more like a glaze. It's not gonna be like a really thick frosting. It's gonna be like a nice powdered sugar glaze, and it's gonna be so good. If you like way more on top of your cinnamon rolls, go ahead and double this recipe. But this is just a nice glaze to go on top of your cinnamon rolls. We're gonna put these on top after our rolls have cooled a bit. You do want your cinnamon rolls to be warm when you put this on so it kind of melts on in there. But this is gonna be really good. Our rolls are still baking. I think they have about 10 minutes left, and then they are gonna be ready soon, and I am so excited to eat them. All right, here are our cinnamon rolls fresh out of the oven. Don't they look good? I'm gonna let these cool off just for a little bit, and then I'm gonna put our icing on while they're still warm. The very final step now is to put our glaze on top. These are still nice and warm, so this glaze should just melt right on into the top of it. These are gonna be great. Here's my glaze. I'm just gonna pour them on top and just spread it out. I let these bake for about 22 minutes. I didn't want them to get too dark, but I also wanted to be sure that the inside was totally baked all the way through. So I think that these probably turned out just perfectly. Here they are. Don't they look so good? All right, you can see in there, they're cooked all the way through. They look great. Here's my cinnamon roll that I have been anticipating all morning. I cannot wait to eat this. Look how good this looks. Honestly, this cinnamon roll is even better than I imagined it would be. I am so pleased with this. This is one of my favorite cinnamon roll recipes. I have several other recipes that I like for cinnamon rolls that I'll also be sharing. So if you like cinnamon rolls, be sure to subscribe because I have a lot more recipes coming out for you soon. Try these out. Let me know if you like them as much as I do. Thank you for being here with me today on Robyn on the Farm. Please like, share, subscribe. I would love to see your comment, and I will see you next time on Robyn on the Farm.